first off, the European Union is basically collapsing into the New World Order, as we predicted it would do. Every country that's taken over, trillions of dollars are demanded by the very central banks that created the derivatives, and then we're told a few weeks later that didn't fix anything. Now we need a total dictatorship. But it was the founders of the European Union who bragged that it was really a receivership to take over the sovereign countries and fully collapse their sovereignty into a banking dictatorship. And finally, publications like the London Telegraph are starting to do their homework. Headline, the EU's architects never meant it to be a democracy. The rise of a technocracy was always part of the plan for Europe. Kind of like 3 years ago when the editor, foreign affairs editor for Financial Times of London wrote, "And now for world government." That was the headline. And he said, yes, it's authoritarian. Yes, we kept it secret. Yes, it's global government, but it's for your own good. Goldman Sachs knows best. And Goldman Sachs put its alumni into all the presidencies and prime ministerships of these countries. They got them over the central banks of the countries, and now they are taking them down and jacking up the taxes, cutting the benefits, all to pay the debts created by Goldman Sachs, because the public is totally confused and doesn't know what's going on. But the globalists now want to rub it in to the slaves. It's like, look at you, you poor dumb yuppies. All you care about is acting trendy. Let us in Time magazine call for a Bank of the World to save everybody. In fact, they say, do Greece and Italy amount to bankers' coup? Yeah, the bankers know best, as I heard Bloomberg Radio talk about in CNBC a few weeks ago. They said, don't worry, we'll get rid of all democracy in Europe and bring in a banking dictatorship. You pay your VAT, sales taxes, and carbon taxes too. Again, we bail out the banks, and then we pay them interest on the money we pay them. You can't make up the magnitude of this. Paul Watson wrote an article this morning at prisonplanet.com. Banker coup. Goldman Sachs takes over Europe. Financial terrorist who caused collapse poses EU debt crisis saviors. Over 90% of the debt in Greece, Ireland, and other countries, we told you it would move to Italy and then Spain, Portugal, and others. Over 90% of it is derivatives that they got the governments to sign on to the bankers too big to fail. So the bankers sell all this, get government to sign on to too big to fail, and then, oh, we're bankrupt, we got to raise your taxes to pay the bankers their bailout money. And the bankers ride in on a white horse and say, we're going to cut all your budgets, take your pension funds, raise your taxes. And the media that they own says, thank God they're there. Thank God they did this. Except in one place, Iceland. Remember 2 years ago? They told them, oh, you owe hundreds of billions of dollars, a population of less than 400,000 with all their resources, all their oil from natural gas drilling, all their petrochemical money. And then they rioted, basically, and also just didn't comply with the government for over a year. And then it came out and they said England was going to sue them and mark all the Icelanders as terrorists. Literally, that was in the BBC, that they wouldn't be able to travel to England or Europe anymore if they didn't sign on to their debts. Finally, the head finance minister had to step down, and turned out 91% of the debt was not owed by Iceland. It was owed by the mega banks who'd gotten their operative to sign the country on for them. Ireland, the head of their central bank, said it's good for Ireland to be owned and run by foreign banks. That was a quote earlier in the year. This is just the treason. Traitors in America, traitors in Ireland, traitors in Greece, traitors everywhere. This is being done all over the globe. And we're going to cover this more with one of our guests this evening.